about. I sort of came to hear other new Muslims, because I don't really consider myself a new Muslim per se anymore. This is like 6 or 7 years ago that I reverted. I think about 6 now. I don't even know, maybe I know some of you, I don't know, it's been a while, actually. I would have to say, well, I'll start my story with I was born like Christian, I was baptized and stuff, and I think the first time I really even read a book about Islam was in university, and I don't know, I think I was just bored in the university. I cracked open a book, and I remembered something in the book stuck with me. It said something about, all Muslims, no matter where they're good or they're bad, and if they've sinned, they might reach the hellfire, but they're eventually gonna get pulled out. So I was like, huh, that's a little bit different than, if you're a bad Christian. I can't really remember all their things, but I sort of like that, so that stuck with me. And then I was in a lot of sociology classes, and I can't remember exactly which class it was, but I remember a Muslimia. I think it was actually a religious studies class. It was one of my electives, but like a hijabi, I guess. I don't know if that's the proper terminology, but anyways, like a Muslimia was there with a brother, and I just remembered their mannerism was so good. So basically, this was before 9/11. I was actually in university for 9/11. I think it was my first year or something like that. So anyways, we all know how that happened. And then basically there was kind of an interest there, right? Well, who are these Muslims? They say they're bad, but I seen these, this girl teaching about Islam in my class, and she was of good nature, and this book is saying some good things about them. So basically I went on, I got a degree, and I got a job like way away from my parents, and in the city. It was like way north. I live in Canada, but it was like, I won't say where, but it was just a city like in the middle of nowhere basically. So I had a lot of time and thinking to do, and anyways, so I actually first came on Peltog way before this, but it was to go to like the DJ rooms where that's originally what I did. I was like into scratching and stuff like that. But anyways, that's why I originally came on Peltalk. But then I started talking. I think it was a couple brothers that were sort of into that music too, but they were kind of getting away from it because they were starting to give dawah and stuff. I don't know if he's on here anymore. I forget what his name was. Something. I don't know. There was a girl and this dude that were both giving me dawah. Actually, I used to come to the debate rooms too, and sometimes I liked them. I like more rooms like this better where it's more personable. But it was Islam Answers Back, and I remember Abu Harith was there, and I heard him in some good debates and making a lot of sense. But, sometimes in those rooms there's arguments, and there's fights. I don't always think... Sometimes I think they're doing their trick. Not their trick, I should say, but sometimes they're doing good dawah, and sometimes it's like, why is this, this Muslim yelling on the mic? And I think sometimes the bait isn't good, Anyways, that's not how I came to... I guess it was how I came to some sense. Like, they explained clearly about the Trinity, wasn't logical and stuff like that. I really learned from it, but I didn't... It was more... I remember in the start, Islam Answers Back was more about to debunk Christianity than actually teach about Islam. So I got debunked, that's for sure, and that kind of opened me up and made me vulnerable and stuff. And I started listening to this dawah that this brother and sister were giving to me. And I remember, yeah. And I remember this going to, I think it was 7-Eleven, or it was a Max. It was like a block away. And I was starting, there was another guy too. What is his name? I think his screen name's like "Don't Worry, Be Muslim" or something like that. I can't AM20 or something. I forget. He was one of the dudes. He wasn't like one of the people that was kind of listening to music, but he was one of the guys who like, yeah, remember him? Okay, so there was him and there was this girl and this guy. They were both my age except I think it was AM20 wasn't my age, obviously. So anyways, I remember going to like Max, on the way there I can't remember if anything happened or if I came close to getting in an accident, but I thought to myself, what if I get offed right now and I'm not on the true religion? It's starting to make sense to me, this Islam and stuff, so I came home and I didn't want to have the big Shahada and like Islam Answers Back or any of those rooms because I always thought it was a bit like showing off, you know what I mean? This was just my opinion. This is all my opinion, but I thought like, come on, like people giving, maybe it makes some people feel good, but I asked AM20, take me in a room. I want to take my Shahada right now. I don't want it to be big, you can tell the big rooms that I converted after, but I don't want some big, Shahada in front of thousands of people because that's not what it's about. So I think that sister was there. AM20 and someone else, and basically, the thing that got me was the oneness, the tawheed, and people's mannerisms, how they treated me and stuff, and tawheed for sure. So maybe the benefit of my talk is it's maybe not always about those big debates, and it's not about whose argument sounds better. It's more about, I guess, being nice to people and teaching dawah with being calm and sincere and having sabr and stuff like this, I think is what really got me about Islam and started letting my ears open up to it, and alhamdulillah I became Muslim. So that's my story, and it's 6 years later, and I'm happily married now to a Moroccan girl. I went over to Morocco and got married. My parents thought I was crazy at first, but when they met there, they were like, holy, how did you get this girl that's like an angel when, you used to be into stuff that was no good? And even my friends at work sometimes, they're like, they see, just if you guys probably know how Muslimiyas are, but when they actually meet someone from the West, and the West don't know how they are, they have the bad imagery of, the Muslim women are gonna be mean, or like how the West thinks of them. When they actually met my wife, everyone's like, holy, she's like, she's not an angel, that's a bad term to use, but she's acts like someone that's not from the West, let's just say that, but she's nice, her mannerism. I think my wife gives better dawah than me just because people see her, she's fully in hijab and stuff, and me, I'm white, they can't always tell I'm Muslim, but so anyways, I guess that's my story. So the only thing, I guess, the benefit to take from that is just when you're given dawah, be nice, and it will change, your mannerism is a big thing about dawah. I think, they said giving a smile is charity, and this is true. So if I said anything wrong, it's from Shaitan. If I said anything good, it's from Allah. Here's, the mic is free again. What do you mean? Oh, okay. Um, well, my dad was actually friends with, what do they call them, Ishmaelis or something? I don't know if you know them. It's like a sect, yeah. So, he thought this was Islam, I think, and their Ismailis is not Islam. But anyway, so he had a friend that was, and maybe the friend told him, well, there's some Muslims like us that are moderate, and there's some that are, that could be into the bad stuff or whatever, you know what I mean? So, when I first became Muslim, honestly, I probably had more Iman back then. Not to say I don't now, it's like a roller coaster, right? Your Iman always goes up and down. But when I first became Muslim, I was hardcore, let's just say, you know what I mean? Like, because you have no sins, you're pure and you're just learning, but everything you hear, it comes to you, and you're taking in all this information, so you're wanting to spit it back at people, right? I was a little bit trying to save everybody when I became Muslim. So my parents, I'm telling them, you're gonna go to the hellfire if you don't become Muslim. This isn't right. I seen, it's like a light came on. I seen the light. You guys gotta listen to this message. And I think I pushed it a little bit hard on them. Like, I tried to not really save them, but they found me kind of preachy. I remember one day, and I wasn't even being really preachy, but I remember to my dad, I was just telling them like a few things in the garage. I'm like, your friend, he's Ismaili, 80% of Muslims are Sunni, and we don't really accept this man even as much. And I think that actually got him mad, because this Ismaili guy was telling my dad some BS. I don't want to swear, but some things about the true Islam he was lying basically. And I said, this Ismaili guy, he's no good, Dad. You listen to him, I'll start listening to me. You know what I mean? So we had some disagreements about what his friend was telling him and what I was telling them. And they thought I was crazy going to Morocco, because like 6 months after I became a Muslim, I'm like, I need to get married. Like, I'm gonna fall off if I don't get married. Like soon, I'm gonna go find a girl or something like this. You know what I mean? I'm like, I have to get married. It's gonna keep me to help lower my gaze. All the stuff that they say you're supposed to get married for. So, anyways. Basically, I went to Morocco, and they thought I was crazy. No one came to my wedding there. I kind of just quit my job and I went. I had a decent job that I found after university. Nothing to make me rich, but enough to pay the rent and this and that. And I asked my boss, I said, can I want to go to Morocco. And she didn't really ask why, and I wasn't going to tell her because I don't want people to judge me. They knew I became Muslim at work, and some people are like, what? Like, you're Muslim now? Are you serious? I don't think people took me serious at first, but then they seen me do the Ramadan, not drink any water, work 12-hour days, etc., etc., and okay, maybe this guy's serious now. Anyways, my boss wouldn't let me take the time off, so I just quit. Went to Morocco, I got married. My parents were like, be safe there. If you know Morocco, it's a pretty moderate country, like, it's not dangerous. It's not no Pakistan or even Afghanistan. There's no wars going on, And basically, I remember going to Morocco, and it was like a long trip from Canada to Morocco. I think it was almost 2 days, because I had to stay in Frankfurt for like 15 hours one day. They have a little mosque there, mashallah. But anyway, so I got to Morocco, and I barely had any sleep. And I remember falling asleep and asking the mom, will I hear the adhan? And she's like, yeah, the mosque is right across the street. You're going to hear it. I said, okay, because I thought I was so tired I would sleep through it, and I wanted to pray Fajr for once and hear the adhan for my first time as a new Muslim. And I remember it was like, Allahu Akbar. The window was open, and I woke up. I almost had a heart attack, and I thought it was like the Day of Judgment. It sounded like someone was seriously screaming in my ear. So I looked out, on the balcony, and I seen all these people. And if you guys know anything about Morocco, they all dress like Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars. I think actually Star Wars was filmed in Morocco. And it's like sand. It looked like the sand people all coming, to the mosque, and no one was talking. I'm like, oh, I gotta get one of those Obi-Wan Kenobi outfits. So I bought one of those, I grew my beard out, and I got a lot of sand, so my white became brown. I actually looked Moroccan, like, within a week or two of being there, so I totally fit in. The only thing was, my wife said, don't talk when you're, don't talk, your accent will come out when you're in the cab. So I would just say things like, labas mizian, just the Moroccan speech, but I wouldn't, like, start talking English, because sometimes they up the tax fare if they know you're a foreigner. So anyways, but just seeing everyone come to Fajr like that was peaceful and humbling, and even though it did look kind of like the Sand people, I'm like, I know for sure now I'm on the right religion. Just hearing that adhan and how it rang, like, throughout my body and stuff, and hearing all the other ones in the background, I'm like, honestly, if I could find work in Morocco, I'd be living there right now. It's so different. My iman shot up enormously when I was out there. I was praying in the mosque every single day, not missing, not even being late for a prayer, you know what I mean? Every day I had to stay there I think extra because it's hard to get married there. I had to stay there about 40 days it took to get married. Maybe 30, but I wanted another week with my wife because I couldn't bring her back to Canada immediately, you know what I mean? So my family really became my wife's family. It's weird, but I lived in a faraway city from my parents. My wife always makes me call them. Have you called them? Have you called them? She'll pick up the phone and dial their number, obviously, because that's like the Islamic cultural thing to do, stay close to your parents. But there was a bit of a divide there for a little bit. But my dad said one time in the backyard, this is years later, he said, at first I thought you were crazy for doing this and going to Morocco all by yourself, to meet this girl, you just talked to for 6 months online and you met her on some way. He said, I thought that was weird, but now I've met her, your personality really hasn't changed. You're still you. You just lost some of your bad habits, He basically told me in not so many words that he kind of accepted who I am and who I became, and so it's good with them. I talk to my mom sometimes a little bit. She'll ask some questions. My dad, sometimes I take it a little bit softer. Like I said, I try to do that mannerism thing and see, them watch me and just my example, not so much. That's my way of dawah with them. If they ask, I'm going to tell them. And obviously I have told them that I believe Islam's the true religion, and if you don't get on it, then your afterlife might be no good for you. So they know my point of view. I just don't push it with them anymore. But other people, accept it. Me too, at my work and stuff, if they're making pork, they'll make something, different for me, or they won't have pork that day. So it's really, though, Canada's, I don't know about you guys, I think you're from the States. Oh, my one brother actually almost became Muslim. I didn't know. I was kind of teaching him at first. And I remember going out to a meal later after I gave him some teachings, and I came back to the city to visit him. I think we went to some kind of sandwich place, like a Subway or something like that. And his ex kind of fiance, they're not together anymore. Well, I think they were together at this time. She's basically said, yeah, and if David ever becomes Muslim, I would leave him or something like that. So she basically, I didn't know he was close to becoming it. He must have told her, but she had said that, if he was thinking about it, and he didn't tell me that. So I must have got something to him. He's like a true seeker, but he's not Muslim yet. And my older brother, he's on some weird, my dad really doesn't, he's not religious. It's hard to, I find it hard to give dawah to people that have no religion. So I had one person I worked with, though, that came to Islam. So that was good. I took him to the mosque and I was just teaching him. And he went and met the imam, and I was finishing off my prayer or something, and I came to find him. It was a big mosque that I wasn't too familiar with, because I go to one of the smaller mosques, and I came, and the imam's like, your friend just took the shahada. I was subhanallah, that's great. So yeah, I find I need to learn more, though. I just went to a talk about Tawheed the other day, and some of just the basics of Tawheed I had forgotten, actually, because I hadn't been studying it a lot. I pray every day. I hit all my prayers. The odd time I might miss one due to sleep or something like this, but for the most part I have my salah down. But you really got to keep studying, right? Yeah. The most important actually is La ilaha illallah. That's what I learned in the Tawheed talk. Then once you know La ilaha illallah and you understand not just the basic of it, but when you really understand it, there's books on it, there's books just on that. And then obviously, yes, the prayer comes next, and you have to establish that for the rest of your good deeds to come. So but that's what I'm saying, as a new Muslim, study that, you guys. Whoever's new here, study Tawheed and, get your prayers down and everything. It's very important because, like I said, I went to this 2-hour talk. I knew mostly everything he said, but there was things that I didn't understand about, there's things I had forgotten, I guess you could say. So, um, yeah. So for new Muslims, study that. That's the most important thing. Then Salah. Salah is obviously you have to have it, or you don't get any benefits, right? So, anyways, that's probably all I have to say, I guess. So you can have the mic back. Thanks for your time. Yeah, no problem.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you guys hear me? Assalamu alaikum. Allah. All right, great. Brother DJ, I should call you, Prevail. Barakallah Feek, that was an amazing story. Uh, this is night and one with you, akhi, okay? I'm using my other PC because that one doesn't have the mic built in. Barakallah Feek, I just wanted to thank you and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for this effort. Actually, I did record the story. I need your permission to play it again. We do this for the sake of Allah and as a way of da'wah to welcome people to Islam. Yeah, great, alhamdulillah. And the reason why I don't tell people, because usually they're reluctant. Once they know they're recorded, they're reluctant to say anything. They freeze. But once you tell them it's for Allah's sake, they do anything, mashallah. Some brothers, did the other Adam was upset? Like there was a brother by the name of Adam. Was it Adam? No, not Adam. Some other Jason maybe, right? Uh, we told him to tell the story. He didn't have a mic. I hope he didn't get upset because we asked him to get the mic whenever he can. Because we're very, wallahi, we're very eager to hear these stories. Yours was wonderful, akhi, mashallah. What a surprise. If we don't have a story, we try to open any subject. And I think it was you who said, why is this, how is this relating to Islam? The loose change we were playing. Because no one else wanted to tell the story, might as well, play something. And the topic was opened about 9/11 and who was behind it. Another Muslim came into the room, was accusing us that Muslims did it. And obviously, uh, anyone with any atom weight worth of fairness would say this is an inside job. Wallahi, I mean, there's nothing pointing to any Muslim doing this, except the official fake story, which the whole world know it's fake and it's been debunked. Wallahi, including both sides when both of them claimed that they did it. Like, remember how Bin Laden claimed and the CIA or FBI claimed? Subhanallah, the thing is, uh, when they named 19 people who hijacked and did all these horrible things, and then you got this Bin Laden taking the tape and saying the same exact 19 people did it, only to discover that 9 or 12 out of 19 were still alive. Subhanallah. You know what I mean? They're still alive. Their passport were taken, stolen, okay? And they're claiming that they're innocent. They got nothing to do with this. How come their name is being shared? How come their pictures are being shown? So it just to show you, akhi, it's a big conspiracy. But alhamdulillah, it was well exposed. People definitely need to learn a lot before they pass judgment. And we paid the price, akhi, for their lies. Every Muslim in the world paid the price for the lies of this conspiracy, brother. You know what I mean? So it's a healthy thing. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Welcome, Sister Salsabi. Good to see you. It's a good thing that someone opened such a subject so we can talk about it and share different opinions and views. But wallahi, it doesn't take a genius to know that it was an inside job. According to so many reports and so many people and the evidence itself, you know, uh, you've seen what yourself, akhi? Just like the landing on the moon. I mean, they fooled the world for so many decades that we have landed on the moon, right? And it's turned out to be a hoax. Subhanallah. It turned out to be like one of the lies. You don't know that? Yes, it is the biggest lie. Subhanallah. It was all acting, sister. It was just it was just a bunch of act. I mean, it was just a silly thing that they did to fool the world. Allahu Akbar. So they just feed us a bunch of lies, akhi, and you'd be naive to believe the official story always. You know, so they just steer the masses the way they deem necessary for some special group's interest, not the American public interest or America's interest. Special groups, very few people who benefit, and very few people who control the world, unfortunately. Uh, any other revert in the room that'd like to share with us, inshallah? We just heard the story of brother DJ Prevail. His story was wonderful, mashallah. Not many of you heard it from the beginning, so I may seek his permission and play the beginning, because I wasn't even paying attention to the beginning part. Do you mind if we replay your story, akhi? This way you can answer people if they ask you a question. Alright, let me just go to the other PC, inshallah, and we'll listen to it. My wife even wanted to listen to it. Okay, assalamu alaikum, jazakumullah khair for listening.